Okay, in this video I'm going to talk about the double negation rule, but before I do that, let's look over here. So you know, just from English, that two negations, two nots, cancel each other out. So therefore, in our TFL language, be and not be mean the same thing. Similarly, not be and not be mean the same thing. I mean, you're never going to see this one, but nonetheless, it means the same as this. And the way to think about that is this is a unit, and then on this side, this is also a unit. Then what we have is this unit with two knots in front of it. So it's really the same as what we have here on the same line. Okay, now over here, not be, as you know, is not the same, is the opposite of both be and not be. Be and not be are both the denial of not be. If one person says not be and you say either be or not be, if you were talking that way, then you'd be denying what they say. Okay, but importantly, only not be is the negation of not be. So again, if we treat this as one unit, then it's just this one that is the unit with a not in front of it. Okay, so that's going to be important in a second. All right, now down here, the double negation rule is very simple. If we have anything on one line, let's say C, then using this rule on a new line, we can put not C. When we do that, of course, just as we said up here, we're not changing the meaning of what we have, excuse me, we're not changing the meaning of what we have here on line 3, so it's fine to do at any point in our proof. We would just cite that as DN for double negation and the line that has our original letter, or it can be a sentence, on it. Okay, so when would we ever need to use the double negation rule? The most common time, and the time you're going to see coming up, is when you're using the disjunction elimination rule. So for this rule, recall that you need one line that has a disjunction, in this case A or B, and then you need another line that is the negation, not just the opposite, or not just the denial, but the negation of one half of the disjunction. So in this case, we have B up here, and here we have not B, so that means we can put on a new line A. All right, so just recalling that, let's look at a proof here where we have to use the disjunction elimination rule, and we'll also have to use the double negation rule. Okay, this is the argument that I want to show you. So we have two premises, C or not F, and then the second premise is F, and our conclusion is C. So I've got it started here. Okay, now the idea for a proof is that we're assuming what's on every line of the proof is true. So we're assuming that our premises are true, and then as long as we use the rules correctly, what we end up with on every subsequent line of the proof down here is also going to be true. Now, who knows if these sentences, once they were translated into English, would actually be true about the real world, but we're just assuming, for the sake of this proof, that the premises are true, and then whatever follows will also be true. There is one qualification to what I've just said that we'll get to in the end of this chapter, but for right now, that's the basic idea for proofs. Okay, so that being said, you know that for a disjunction, one side of the disjunction has to be true. So for the sentence that we have here on line 1, either C or not F has to be true. Both of them can be true, but at least one side of the disjunction has to be true for the whole sentence to be true. Now we also have F here on line 2, and so F and not F cannot both be true at the same time. Let's say that F is today is Friday, then not F would be today is not Friday. Okay, so we have F here on line 2, so that means we're assuming that it's true, so therefore we know that not F has to be false. Consequently, we also know that C has to be true. So therefore, we should be able to put C down here on line 3. We can't quite do that, however, because, as we just said, for the disjunction elimination rule, we need what's on one side of the disjunction with a not in front of it, and that's not what we have here. Here we have what's on one side of the disjunction without the not in front of it. So we can't technically use the disjunction elimination rule. However, that's easily fixed if we use the double negation rule first. So we'll do that. On line 3, we'll put not F. So that's double negation from line 2. So what we've done there is taken this F on line 2 and put 2 nots in front of it. Like we said up here, let's see, where did we say it? Right here. 2 nots and no not at all have the same meaning. The 2 nots will cancel each other out. So what we have here on lines 2 and 3 have the same meaning. We haven't changed the meaning. And so if what's on line 2 is true, then what's on line 3 is also true. Okay, and now, let's see. Got too many colors going here. So now we have what's on this side of the disjunction with a not in front of it. So not, and then what's inside the box. Okay, so now we can do disjunction elim. So what we have right here on line 3 is going to eliminate that side of the disjunction. We can bring the C down, and that's going to be disjunction elim 1 and 3. And we have our conclusion.